Hi, Kevin Blanche. What a vista today, huh? Wow, holy cow. April 2012. I want to talk today about more of an economics. Yeah, I know I've been in my Fukushima mode and my anti-nuke mode, but I'm still the finance guy. I'm still the economist. I want to talk a little bit about why Western Europe, the United States, Canada, and Japan are going broke. Why are we going so broke? And all these economists dive in and they dig and they say taxes lower, higher, they say this, that. You know, when the big elephant in the room, not one single person will discuss it. It's real easy. Do you think it's any coincidence for 1940, even before then, 34 to 1975, we have the strongest middle class in world history? Huh? When the progressives held the Senate and Congress the whole time. When it was the progressive Fed, when it was the progressive presidents, when it was the progressive country, full employment. Huh, protectionism. Tariffs 300% on an auto, 700% on goods. You think Chinese goods couldn't have got in here back then? As Hamilton, the greatest economist of all time, wrote himself about cheap Chinese goods coming into America then, in the 1770s and the 1780s. Then, it's not the world getting flattered. Then, he created tariffs, we had tariffs. Reagan, the John Bircher, comes in and starts to eat it away. It's real simple. Western Europe, there's only so much wealth. We take our entire job base here in the United States, our entire job base in Western Europe, our entire job base in Japan, and we just go whoop to China via breaking down protectionism. Well, the one thing that people didn't discuss, they said, oh, open up free markets. The one thing that economists failed to tell you and failed to discuss was the erosion of the tax base. Those workers making those cars, making that toothpaste, making every product you could, these coats in Manhattan, they paid a lot of taxes. As it's been 100 years, as I stood in Washington Square on the 100th year anniversary of the shirtwaist fire, as I tried to organize a labor movement there, I've called it post-ignorance. As it's ironic, it sprung up right after that in Zuccotti Park, which is not very far from there, literally blocks, as a lot of the movement was in Washington Square, as NYU sits right, that's where the shirtwaist was. Look, those girls were protesting in the streets of Manhattan. Before the shirtwaist fire happened, they were protesting. The cops were cracking young women's face. They were bought up, just like they are now. It's history repeating itself. Beating the hell out of women, killing them in cases, throwing them in jail. They were marching. They were tired of working for nothing. They were tired of slave labor. So it didn't get nowhere, just like the Occupy. But I'll tell you where it got somewhere, when those two creeps locked those girls in the top right there at Washington. Which is ironic, the same place that the gay pride freaking marches started. All these movements right there on that square. As I stood there and I did my poetry and I did my writings about the shirtwaist fire, those girls jumped to their deaths. 17, 16, 18, 13, 14, young mothers, future mothers, our future grandmothers jumped to their deaths as the ladders weren't high enough to save them. This country had a conscience then. It doesn't now. People freaked out. Every newspaper in this country freaked out. That gave us minimum wage. That gave us overtime. That gave us the labor movement. It was born. It was born right there. Right there as those girls' faces were, as they jumped to their deaths. What was it, 159, 169 of them? As I've been to their cemetery, and that marker is still very sacred. It's run down. It needs to be restored. Isn't it ironic? The same thing. But now it's happening in Japan. We broke down tariffs, so Apple in violation of Chinese labor laws. Talk about an oxymoron, Chinese labor law. How bad is Apple when they're in violation of Chinese? So we took all these great jobs and why? How did that happen? The Ayn Rand, philosophical freaking John Birch, Reagan, Bush won. Yes, Clinton signed that. Clinton was a Republican. 30-year march of destroying, this is all this has been. This has been redistribution of wealth to the 1%, to the top via economic policy. It's really that simple. It is really that simple. As we move those jobs to China 37 cents an hour, the same people that own the factories here in the United States are the same people that own the factories in China. The only difference is instead of $70 an hour, they pay 37 cents an hour. Does it benefit the consumer? Oh, you save $24 a week at Walmart on your grocery bill, as your paycheck has been cut by $60,000 a year. Do the math. It has been the biggest scam perforated on the American, but not to mention the tax rate. We did not need the government to get involved in health care. Why? We have full employment in this country. Labor, massive power. If an employer did not give beautiful 100% health, dental care, they walked down the street to that. We had full employment in the 60s, full employment in the 70s. The average athlete in this country only made 3 times the average working class. Is that because the average athlete didn't make much? No, it's because the average American made that much, $116,000 in today's money. The average CEO, I hear people all the time say, made 30 times. Not true. They made about 4 times. As the American worker, one work, they raised 5 kids in a 1,200 square foot house, 40-hour work week, 2-week vacations, happy families, beautiful design. All that beautiful design, GM and Ford products come out because those guys were making money. People were buying them. I mean, I remember for years, I just couldn't wait till the new GMs come out every year because I'd buy me a new one every year. For years and years, I couldn't wait. I was so excited to see them. They were beautiful. They were magnificent things. You know, I have a whole freaking yard of broke down GMs because I refuse to buy foreign. As the old boys used to have bumper stickers, hungry, eat your foreign car. I'm old school. This jacket was made in Manhattan. Everything I wear. I've never set foot in a Wal-Mart. I refuse. I buy retro. My 1960 Bel Air is the only thing that runs. You know, I'm driving a little Mini Cooper now, BMW car. You know, Germans don't exploit labor. You know, it's ironic. My brother works for Deutsche Telekom. Deutsche Telekom is pissed off at T-Mobile here because they says they are outsourcing labor to the United States. Did you ever think that could be mentioned? Outsourcing labor to the United States because it's so cheap labor. Because we've incorporated and smashed down labor so hardcore. That is the elephant in the room. It is really that simple. Protectionism was another one of those words, like freedom fries, like the French, like San Francisco. I love how they demonize the city of the grand, beautiful, magnificent, incredible, historical city. They demonize it. The French, as if it wasn't for the French, us borrowing money from them, we would have never won any of the wars. They've always been, but no, the far-right radical genre, demonized. These were demonized. Protectionism. Demonized it. The average voter doesn't even know what it means, but oh, it's evil. It's like communism. But yet they voted in jest of their own economic status, of their own principles, of their own well-being, as they crush their job. But oh, they're going to heaven because they voted for this God candidate. They lost track of economics and politics and turned it into religion. The Republican Party, the far end. And I'm not just picking on the Republican Party. Bill Clinton. The contract on America, he and Newt Gingrich, a Republican, probably the greatest Republican president of all time. You know, the Ayn Rand philosophical idealism, it hasn't changed. Barack Obama, progressive? Hell no. You know, Bill Clinton betrayed us. He told us he was the next John Kennedy. He couldn't make a pimple on John Kennedy's ass. This is nothing but breaking down protectionism, taking the job base, moving it to China, which trickled. It's really that simple. Economics 101. Kevin Blanche, stay tuned.